Following on from Team Netherlands yesterday, I'm back today to bring you all my next Overwatch World Cup 2019 video on the also highly requested Who Makes Team Germany. The German side holds many similarities to the Dutch side, in that for the last couple of years it's been competitive but not quite managed to reach BlizzCon, with consecutive 4th place finishes in 2017 and 2018, although they did make BlizzCon group stages back in 2016. Last year they put on a good showing, finishing 4th at the Paris qualifier, behind teams France, UK and Netherlands, making every series competitive, even taking the French side to all 5 maps, but they were only able to come away with victories over Poland and Italy. The German committee for this year sees Nuki stay on as general manager, but for 2019, Nosserino was voted in as community lead, whilst Progi comes in as head coach. And they'll be hoping that this is the year they can find success, with a number of talented players starting to break through into contenders scene. The team held open trials, which was then whittled down to 20 players in a second phase, from which I believe the team will be drafted from. So consequently, my 7-man squad for Germany will only consist of players you can see here. But if I do make any errors or mistakes, please be sure to correct me down in the comments below. Main tank is one of the positions where the German side will definitely be seeing a change from last year, with their 2018 option of Progi now moving on to the committee, as I mentioned before, opening up the spot, which is coming down to 4 players: Haddy, Cookie, Exo and Dyer. Let's start with Haddy, as he's the only player of the 4 who's currently playing at a contenders level with British Hurricane, who currently sit 4th in the European Contenders Season 2, with a 3-3 record. He started to get his name recognised in the competitive scene, with HSL Esports finishing strongly in minor tournaments like Jane's Tournament of Future Champions and the Open Division. He then made some substitute appearances with Shoes Money Crew, a British Hurricane, and following impressive displays on Winston and Rhine, he recently was signed up to their roster fully. He's a player playing very well at the moment and in tremendous form, and even though he hasn't taken part in many trials, he's one of the strongest candidates for this position. With less experience at the higher levels of the competitive scene, most of the comments I can make of the other 3 are purely made from the trials I've watched. The trio primarily were playing Orisa, with some situational switches onto Winston and Rhine, and they all seemed to put in some really solid performances, with particularly good and clear communication as to when they were pulling and how low their shields were getting. I would have liked to see Haddy go head to head with them on more occasions, and feasibly they all have chances of making the side, depending upon the impression they left on the coaches. But in the end, I'd have to lean towards having Haddy as my main tank for this side, with the experience at high levels of competitive play being more important if his side wants to progress forward further this year. At the flex tank position, 2 candidates were sent forward for the second phase of trials, although I think it's quite obvious who the selection will end up being. That said, although I couldn't find out too much about Dacron, I have to say he put up a good showing at the trials, with some nice displays on Hog, Diva and Zarya, and he shouldn't be at all disappointed with his performance here. However, it seems pretty set in stone the Team Germany selection at flex tank, and my own as well, will be Moose. He's exploded onto the scene with Clockwork Vendetta, who have been astonishingly strong after progressing through trials, and currently sits 2nd in European contenders. He's most well known for his ability and skill on Roadhog, but he can flex onto Diva and Zarya if required as well. He plays very aggressively and loves to flank, and this style has brought him a ton of success, which he's clearly demonstrated in the trials, which he dominated, with hook after hook and a number of clutch kills. If I had to describe it in a word, I'd have to say he's a nutter. A nutter who's ridiculously good at the game, and more than happy to charge into the enemy team on Reinhardt, who's playing a double shield comp with Bastion, and he's certainly deserving of a spot on the German side this year, as he continues to develop and improve. Moving on to the main supports position, I can already tell I'm going to get comments down below from those who just skip to the end and see my whole team. But Germany's only Overwatch League player, Kodak, will not be taking part this year, and has not been participating in the trials, as you may well have seen on the shortlist before. He's stepping aside this year to give other players the opportunity to show themselves off and shine, so even if I wanted to, I will not be selecting Kodak for the German main support spot. Again, I couldn't find much information about the 4 players, Rafid, Cosmic, Orzi and Seamus, who made it into phase 2 of the trials, aside from a few minor tournament appearances, and I thought they all performed at least decently during the trials, so it wouldn't surprise me if any of them get through. However, from these 4, I thought Rafid and Seamus were the top 2 performers, for most of their time spent on Mercy. I really liked the calling from the pair, as you could hear the team's comms during the trials, and I thought they did an effective job of keeping the team healed, whilst utilising Rez and Valkyrie to the best of their abilities. It's really a toss-up here, but in the end, even I can be swayed by the power of memes, and I think it'd be brilliant to pair Moose alongside Seamus, which is why I'd edge my pick to him, who I've heard has a tad more experience, although again, I think all 4 would perform well for Team Germany if selected this year. Flex support sees our next contenders level player, with IBTB, otherwise known as I'll Be The Best, becoming the start of his Shoes Money Crew last month. Clearly he stands out as having the most experience of all the players vying for this position, and from the small amount of contenders footage I've seen, I've liked the look of both his Zen and Ana, especially in regards to his general positioning and ultimate usage. so despite being involved in fewer trials, like Haddy, I think I would have to make him my option here. That said, I think the other two alternatives that have been playing a lot in the trials, Jerry Cheetah and Palace, left a very strong impression on me with consistently good performances throughout. They made some nice plays on Zen and Nano, and generally managed to get the most value out of their ultimates, so I wouldn't rule them out entirely out of the running either, even though I'm not selecting them here myself. Of course, as I now have to select my 3 DPS players for Team Germany this year, I arrive at my 4th and final contenders player, and guaranteed lock for the side, Engineer. Like Moose, he's exploded onto the scene with Clockwork Vendetta, and is most well known for his skill on Torp, although he has other heroes in his arsenal, like Hanzo, who are just as sick as well. He's a player on top of his game at the moment, and is a must-pick member of the side, as highlighted by his incredibly dominant showing in the trials, where he just couldn't seem to be stopped on Hanzo, with Dragon Strike seemingly being available in every fight. And being able to link back up with Moose will just add a bit of pre-developed synergy to the side that I'm creating. Deciding who to place beside him, however, is a much more difficult decision, with a number of players putting in some really strong efforts in the trials I watched. In terms of a hit scan DPS though, I'd have to pick Fi. In my eyes, he had the best and most consistent performances on Ashe, who was one of the most played heroes during these trials, with clutch kills and an ability to get a continual value out of Bob. He was also able to show a nice Sombra on the odd occasion, which is why he'd be my selection. Well, that's not to say the other 3, Faden, Vatase and Airborne, didn't play well as well, as they also showed their skills and would have definitely given the coaches a headache for selection. I've still got one more spot to fill, and as I don't remember seeing much play from Kozak, I don't think it'd be fair for me to comment on his skill or ability. So instead, I'd go for Rady, who put in a really strong showing in the head-to-head against Engineer, primarily playing either Mei or Farah. And I think he can offer up alternatives the team might need at flex DPS, in different situations. But as usual, be sure to let me know who you'd pick yourselves. So to conclude, my final 7 for Team Germany in 2019 would be Haddy at main tank, Moose at flex tank, C-Moose at main support, IBTB at flex support, and then Engineer, Fi, and Rady as my DPS trio. And if you haven't guessed it already, I reckon they will commit to the Clockwork comp, or at least versions of it, with the players playing it in the trials to high levels of success. And given how well Clockwork Vendetta are doing, with few finding ways to effectively beat them, Team Germany could be a dark horse to cause some major upsets in the qualification bracket and sneak their way to BlizzCon. And if they did, they'd probably cause chaos that I'd personally love to see. And as a quick last point, I want to shout out Nosserino and whoever set up the broadcast of Team Germany trials, as they were very well run, and included some really nice clear features, like Team Comms, which were very useful and insightful in helping me put together this video. And with that, we reach the end of my Team Germany Overwatch World Cup video, and I'd like to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, just continuing Overwatch World Cup coverage and content. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.